What is going on, Marvel fans? Welcome back to the Cosmic Wonder. I'm Warren Thompson, and a lot of stuff is happening over at Marvel Studios right now. Today, we're going to be going over news about the Silver Surfer, Nova, and the New Avengers. And it's important to note that it does seem like Marvel Studios has a lot of big announcements upcoming this year. It really does seem like this is the year that Marvel is kind of taking a step back, evaluating everything that they've done and are about to do in Phase 5 and Phase 6. And you have probably heard me mention recently in one of our recent videos that Marvel and Disney, Kevin Feige and Bob Iger, are really making sure everything is up to a certain quality and standard before they release things now. The reason I keep mentioning this is because it is becoming more and more relevant every single day. And we'll talk about that today as a certain project that I know a lot of us, myself included, are waiting for and are really wanting to happen. Well, that project is going to rely on another project first. Depending on how that project does will determine whether this new one gets made or not. We'll talk about all of this in this video. And if you're new and you love Marvel, be sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any of the latest videos. We're doing a giveaway as well. We'll talk more about that at the end. So yesterday, Alex Perez over at thecosmiccircus.com, an extremely reliable insider, did a Q&A on his Discord server, the Discord for the Cosmic Circus, and answered a bunch of questions about the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And as I mentioned, he talked about Nova, the Silver Surfer, the New Avengers, and the Midnight Suns, which we will talk about in this video. That's that specific project that I mentioned. But the first thing he had to say about Nova was pretty interesting. He stated that if Nova isn't announced during San Diego Comic-Con or D23 this year, it's most likely not happening during this saga. And he did say that the project was still in the writing phases right now, so it's being written, it's being worked on right now. There's not a finalized script, but they are working on it. Now, Alex P. over at the Cosmic Circus reported that a Nova special presentation was in the works a while ago. They also reported it about the Silver Surfer, which we'll talk about next. But it's very interesting that Marvel Studios hasn't officially decided whether to include Nova in the Multiverse saga yet or not. But remember, Marvel Studios is doing a lot of rewrites for a lot of different projects, and one of those projects is Avengers 5, what used to be referred to as Avengers Kang Dynasty. And these rewrites don't just affect the project that is being rewritten, but they affect the MCU overall. Because of course, everything is connected, even though it hasn't seemed like that so much recently. But another thing that's pretty interesting is that Alex Perez said something that a lot of other insiders and actual big media outlets have been talking about, and that is that Marvel Studios seems to have some pretty big plans for San Diego Comic-Con and D23 this year. Remember, they didn't really do anything last year. No really big announcements happened, and we now know that it's because Bob Iger and Kevin Feige, like I've been talking about, have kind of taken a step back to reevaluate everything. And they've determined that they pretty much will not make something if one, it doesn't make sense, and two, it doesn't have a good story. So with Nova, I think right now for Marvel Studios, it's all about finding a really great spot to introduce him. They won't give Nova his own special presentation unless they have found another project to insert him in. And from what we've heard about Avengers 5, the New Avengers movie, it doesn't sound like it's going to be too cosmic. It sounds like it's going to be pretty grounded, like it's going to be kind of a street level Avengers film. So that doesn't really seem to be the place that Nova would show up. Also, to introduce him in a special presentation and then just randomly have him show up in Avengers Secret Wars probably wouldn't do too much justice to the character. He'd probably have to be involved in another storyline before Secret Wars to have a decent role in Secret Wars. But this is a really good thing. That means Marvel Studios is being very, very peculiar and intentional with what they do now so they can do justice to these characters. The Silver Surfer is another one of those. Like I mentioned, Alex P. reported a long time ago that the Silver Surfer was coming to the MCU. He was supposed to be one of the Heralds of Galactus, who was the villain of the Fantastic Four film, and the Silver Surfer, before debuting in the Fantastic Four film, was getting his own special presentation. Unfortunately, we have a little bit of an update that is a different report now. He states, when he reported on a Silver Surfer special coming to Disney+, Silver Surfer was going to be Galactus's herald in the Fantastic Four film. He now says That is no longer the case. So if the special is still happening, it won't be like his initial report. Now, if you've been keeping up with Fantastic Four news, you probably know why this isn't the case anymore. It's been reported that the Silver Surfer in the Fantastic Four movie is going to be a female Silver Surfer, widely believed to probably be Juno or a version of Frankie Ray. And this was reported by Jeff Snyder. Now, I've seen that this has kind of made a lot of people mad, but I have also talked about before how Grace Randolph reported that the Fantastic Four film might take place in another universe, not the main 616 universe. And if this happens, then this could work rather well. If their universe ends up getting destroyed from either an incursion or by Galactus and the Silver Surfer, and they are taken from their universe and brought to our universe, just the Fantastic Four team and their families, then after Avengers Secret Wars, we could get the Norrin Radd Silver Surfer that we all know and love. So there are ways to make this work, and if this is their plan, I have to say it's actually pretty creative and I wouldn't mind it. If we ultimately do get the classic Norrin Radd Silver Surfer, I think a lot of fans, including myself, would really love that. The good news is for Nova and the Silver Surfer is that Marvel Studios clearly has some plans to include them, whether that's in this saga or the next. He then also said something pretty interesting about a lot of characters of the New Avengers. He said that Captain Marvel, Captain Rambeau, Ant-Man, and Wasp will be redeemed for audiences in their next appearances, like Thor in Infinity War. Recent reports have told us that Captain Marvel, Ant-Man and the Wasp, and a few others are going to be a part of the New Avengers team. We haven't heard anything about Captain Rambeau being a part of the New Avengers team, but since they gave us that post-credit scene with her from the Marvels, we know that that story has to be picked up again and concluded in one way or another. Now, he didn't mention if they were going to be redeemed in the New Avengers film, Avengers 5, or in Avengers Secret Wars. But again, since we know that these characters are going to be a part of the New Avengers team, most of them, we can assume that the redemption starts with the New Avengers in that movie. Plus, not to mention, it's been reported that Ant-Man is going to show up in Spider-Man 4. So clearly these characters that he mentioned, Marvel Studios has big plans for them, and they seem to be kind of rethinking how they used them before, since Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania was not very well received, and the same thing goes with the Marvels. Both movies were pretty big letdowns to both the studio and to a lot of fans. If you like those movies, fantastic, I'm happy for you, but money-wise, they really didn't perform for the studio. And again, them having a redemption, meaning they're going to have some scenes and a story throughout the entire multiverse saga leading up to Secret Wars and in Secret Wars, that'll make the fans just really be in awe of what is happening, like how Thor landed in Wakanda with Rocket and Groot with Stormbreaker. That was an epic moment. Them getting redemption arcs like that is showing us that Marvel Studios really is reevaluating everything and trying to do some damage control right now for these characters who are loved by a lot of people. And the fact that Marvel Studios is doing this is also shown in another report from Alex P. And this one is in regards to the Midnight Suns. He states that while there are early ideas for the Midnight Suns, they are contingent on the success of Blade, which is kind of scary to think about because Blade has undergone so many different script rewrites. However, like we reported yesterday, it does seem like they have locked down a new script and everybody seems pretty happy with it. And based off of what we heard, it does sound like it's going to be a pretty good story if executed properly. But again, this shows that Marvel Studios really is trying to only produce quality content, and that is shown here by Alex's report. If Marvel Studios produces Blade and it's not received well, they're not going to double down and create another project that's very similar that also has Blade in it just for it to flop as well. Remember, the studios, they need to make money. That's what the shareholders care about. That's what the board of directors care about. They are businesses. And yes, we love them because they produce a lot of great things that we love. And I truly believe that there are people there like Kevin Feige who just want to make really great things for the fans. But these things kind of go hand in hand with each other. If Marvel Studios and Disney want to make money, and the way that they believe to do that is to make quality content, which is right, by the way, and that leads to them not producing crappy projects, then that's kind of a win-win for everybody. I say kind of because if Blade does fail and we don't get a Midnight Suns, I'm going to be pretty bummed because I really want the Midnight Suns in the MCU. But the great thing is it sounds like Marvel Studios right now really is kind of taking all the measures that they can to make sure that all the projects that they are putting out are good. They are rewriting so many different projects right now, and they are making sure that they are good. So it's a good time for the MCU right now. As weird as that sounds, I know a lot of people are kind of tired with what they've been doing lately, but it does sound like they really are trying to revamp everything and make Marvel Studios kind of what it used to be, where they would release hit after hit after hit after hit. So that's exciting, and hopefully everything we get from them is going to be very good moving forward. But go ahead and let me know what you think about all of this news in the comments down below. Nova, Silver Surfer, the New Avengers, and Blade and the Midnight Suns. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to stay up to date on the MCU, and if you leave a comment and subscribe, you're automatically entered in our giveaway for a chance to win a PS5, an Xbox Series X, some Marvel Legends items, or some DC items the winner gets to pick, and we pick one winner at the end of each month. You can find us on Instagram and Twitter/X, and as always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.